This video is a replay of a trade I took today. Now, it probably goes without saying, but I'll say it anyway. I am not a financial advisor, and trading entails risk. Just because I got these results today doesn't mean that I can get these every day, nor that you can. Remember, the entire premise of the investing project and the $1 million experiment is that I am not an expert, and yet I am learning how to do this. So for heaven's sake, don't just blindly copy me. Instead, find a mentor, someone who is an expert, and join their community. Pay for their mentorship. This approach has worked very well for me, and it likely will for you too. So use this video partly as education and partly as inspiration. After all, if I can learn this, you can too.
Hey all. So a tiny little win today. It was on a day that could have been a much bigger win, but sometimes that's the way it works out. I'm gonna do. We had two trades. First one was on the Russell, the M2K here, and you'll see that we have our first green candle right here at this point right here. I'm just looking at the time, and I got in. Let me just put this buy order in. I got in right at 2852.3. So let me just come to that right there. And so let's let this play forward a little bit. And we'll see that connecting. So by way of context, the MYM went up dramatically overnight. And so it was already high, and so it retraced fairly substantially. But then so did the Russell, and the Russell didn't really. So it was definitely a laggard. It seemed like it may have an opportunity to catch up with the NQ and the ES that just don't seem to want to sell off particularly at all. One thing, and so we end up very quickly going into profit on the Russell. Before it promptly retraces, which is really why this is a small win of a day today. We'll talk about that in a second. I want to look briefly at the NQ, though, as well. So if I zoom right in on the NQ, we can see that it's pulled back a bit. So we have two red candles, and then we have posted a green candle. And so it just doesn't feel like it wants to do anything but go up. So I ended up getting in at 29,600. So actually, you know what? Maybe I'm a shade early here. Let's let this play because I got in at 7:15, which is in another 10 minutes. So let's let this unfold a little. Oh, I see what's going on. Yeah. So you know what I actually did? Let's let it go. 7. So you can see it posted this red candle. Hang on a second. My computer's doing weird things. Try to recover this. Okay. Hopefully this recovers. Every now and then my video card has an issue. Okay. It goes completely blank. All right, so we're back. Yeah, so you can see that this red candle has printed, and I'm going to let this continue here. And what we see here is it then starts to recover that red candle altogether. And so what I ended up doing, as I said, at 29,600, I ended up putting in a buy order that executed in about 3 minutes from now. So 29,600 was where I was. So I got in there, which is a shade early if I were going to get in above the 5 minute. But then when we had this full red candle coming back, and then it retraced that full red candle again, it just did not seem like it wanted to go down. So I ended up getting in right there.
Order filled.
So we're in, and now we can see. All right, so I'm way up here on the M2K. Oh, you can see this. I'm way up here on the M2K, which is at this point in time looking really solid. And then I end up doing pretty nicely on the Russell. So sorry, on the NQ. So let's let this play. And what ended up happening is it went pretty strongly in the right direction. And with the NQ, once it goes 50 points in the right direction, it starts to trail at 50 points. Now, what ended up happening here is I think it went up a total of.
Stock filled.
Okay, well, I'm not exactly sure what was going on there. So I ended up with 26 points. I'm not sure if it showed it properly on the replay, but it snapped back, and I ended up with 26 points, and that's $52 worth. Now, that's a bit annoying because sometimes that trailing 50 handle stop, it locks in profits, which is its point. But it sometimes takes me out of a good trade too early. But the reason I have that is that I'm only trading one contract currently. And so I'm either, if you're going to take partial profits or if you're going to lock in profits, well, then you're out of the trade if you only have one contract. In any event, right now, in the current market conditions, I'm playing defense. And I have to make sure that I lock in profits when I can. Unfortunately, at the very same time, the market snapped back and it took me out of the 2K as well. So, and I ended up with, I think, $9 of profit there. So, $61 for the day. It's not terrible, but the part that's frustrating is now let me just for the sake of argument go back in here and buy at market.
Order filled.
Let me just
Order
assume
filled.
that I hadn't gotten out. I got back in at market. When you see this thing turn around and continue its march upward, that's when it's a bit annoying to realize, yeah, it took me out, but it didn't need to take me out. There was still a lot of upward potential here. And so you can see now that the NQ just goes to the moon. The Russell reassumes its march upward. So I'm just looking at what might have been just as a pure exercise in frustration here. But let me take this right back down to break even because it might have taken me out again. I don't know if it would have or not, but the point is today was a good day to be in the market because it was clearly heading upward, and I'm not in it. So how do you like that? Such is life. So yeah, we're looking at a really nice move on the NQ, and in fact, it wouldn't surprise me in the least if this went all the way to 30,000 today. Like it really likes these big round numbers, so it wouldn't have surprised me in the least for it to get all the way up there. Unfortunately, that's where it goes. So at the time of my recording this, it's like 8:40 something, so it's going to stop right about here. So my data ends at this point. But anyway, yeah, this was a potentially much more profitable day than the $61 would have led us to believe. In fact, if I had closed this right here
Order filled.
and here,
Order
I
filled.
would have seen that this was a $463 day. Oh well, as it turns out, it was a $61 day, and so maybe I'll go and buy a hamburger or something. So there we are.